it's been
Are we reacting to a reaction?
a lot of fun. I really enjoy what they're putting out on this channel. And this interview, CN is often known for being very positive, kind of a troll, always joking around, being very funny. But in this interview,
We're
it's
reacting.
him discussing how he feels after Capcom Cup this year, after he had placed ninth place in the first season Capcom Cup.
Did he get ninth his money? Ninth his money? Okay.
Tournament for Street Fighter 6, and gets pretty real about the economics of his situation and the economics of being a pro player. And I thought this section here, I'm gonna let it play out in full, was pretty.
Does Shan have his own YouTube? That's a big question for me. That's an important one, actually.
Pretty real of Cien. So let's go ahead and take a listen here.
When the tournament was over, I just feel really sad. Okay, so there's something about being a professional player, right? It's not as rewarding in this generation for fighting games compared to being a streamer, a content creator, or anything.
Yo, yo, yo.
I spent months preparing for my opponent, practicing.
I need to let my man cook. I'm sorry. I let me let him cook. Let me let him cook.
Hard, no one could see anything, right? They just see what's happening on the stage. Yeah. But the result is I just get $5,000 home. It's about $1,005 a month for all the hard work, the amount of hours that we put in. Being a content creator is a lot better, or streamers way better in this generation. That's because prize money isn't really that rewarding if you don't get top 2 or top 3. And the fact is, you can be a content
Who's that?
creator.
Who that?
You can
Who that? Who that?
do streaming and stuff. Doesn't mean you can't win the championship.
Right.
It may not make a difference because in this era, games are catered in a way. Even if you don't play as much, you can win it. Just that when you work harder, the percentage is higher just by a little bit. Yeah. So I think it's just not as rewarding being a professional gamer.
Let's give him a little more. Let's give him a little more.
In this era,
A little more.
and I hope to see a little bit shift of change, so that there'll be more people motivated, to just be a professional gamer and solely not relying on anything else, which I feel fighting games has failed in this aspect.
Fighting games have failed in this.
Get the oh my god, no, dude, no. This is the whole reason I started that fucking tournament in the first place, dude. Because oh my god, see, this is the thing I don't want. The thing people want fucking like. Have you ever stood outside when it rains, right? And rains just fall on you. That's what people want, but with fucking money. They just want the shit to fall from the sky. It's not. Oh my god, dude. I understand you, but like, no. We just don't get it for free. It's fine. It's fine. If you're a full, I mean, it doesn't matter the game, actually. I think if you're a full-time professional gamer, period, you should be putting time into content and stuff. It's part of the job. Your job is not just playing. It's the same for athletes too. Athletes have to do mandatory press, right? Athletes got to do ads. Some dudes do TV. Like people, you gotta do more stuff because the reasoning is 100% valid. Like, unless you're running that game, or there is just extra money, and the fucking Street Fighter 6 prize pool is the biggest prize pool. I won't count the Gamers 8 stuff because I don't actually know. I don't know about the BTF. I don't know about the BTF prize pool, but at least from publisher tours, Street Fighter has had the largest pot like ever, right? And people are still like, we don't make enough. Bro, I understand the distribution thing better than many people, right? Many people. Unlike popular belief, I am not washed, and I do perform in tournaments, right? I think at Frosty at the beginning of the year, I got 5th. I think I got $300. I think, especially for fighting games, if you are a full-time fighting game player, you just have multiple jobs. It's probably more than 300, but I think it's like 300. I think it's like 3 or 4. I don't remember the amount. It's less than, it was at most 500, but I don't think it was $500. I think it was less than that. But like, it's just crazy because like when I think about it, I think about like, why did I want to do this in the first place? I had this problem, not problem, but I had this thought a couple years ago. Why do I do this? I had to put myself in like 15-year-old me's shoes of like, why did I even start doing this shit in the first place? And every time I think about it, it's never money. It was never, ever money. It was not money. And you can tell, maybe you might be like, okay, that's bullshit. But you can extra tell because look at the games I started with, not counting Melee. But because Melee did have a MLG. Melty Blood, Blaze Blue, like the games I started with, they're not like big money games by any means. Right, especially if you're not winning everything. If you're winning everything, all right, you can probably get something. But like if you're not winning everything, you can't do it. So once you make this commitment to go full time, not even saying that you're professional, because I actually think it's quite a risk to do full time competitive gaming without either a large pool of savings or someone backing you financially. Right, I know I'm lucky enough to be backed financially by Beast Coast. I had a real 9-to-5 job. I don't know about Shen's life if he had office jobs and shit, but like, dude, it pains my heart to hear competitive people be like, "There's no point." Every time I hear a high level player say, "There's no point in entering tournaments," it is heartbreaking. I almost tear up. It fucking hurts to hear people say that. It is an incredible pain, and I don't like projecting, but I do feel like it's because they see people randomly blow up, like the NPC trend on TikTok. They see like people randomly blow up for stuff, and they're like, why not me? Why am I not getting this yet? Why am I not? And then all I could say is, are you doing all the stuff that you're supposed to do? You know what I mean? That one, I'm beating myself up today. I think it's a part of getting older too, is you get more responsibility, you can't game all day. I mean, that's 100%. I mean, if you're saying this is your job, like I'm saying, I quite literally play fighting games for a living. I play for a living, and I do things to support that, right? So the baseline is I learn games and I go to tournaments, okay? Then also I do content. People watch my content, thankfully, thank God. And I use the content to grow my platform. Growing my platform makes me more valuable, right? So more than just skill at a game. Someone who plays anime fighting games, you have to switch games every 3-4 years or so. Kind of depends. So I do stuff outside of the game to support that. And one of the benefits of being supported by an org is the time that I would have spent working my 9-to-5 and driving an hour and a half, an hour to an hour and a half there and back, right? So let's say 2 hours plus 8, so 10 hours. So, and then also playing tournaments. So the benefit of being supported is that 10 hours that I was spending on going back and forth from work and working, I get to spend on whatever I want, but it's not really whatever I want, because my job is to play, and my job is to do the things I need to do to support myself, continue playing, and make more people want to play. Those are what I think is what you need to do as a professional full-time fighting game player. It's hard for me to get behind. It's okay. From your point. Since that's work, you combine that with your responsibilities. Like I literally don't do like I go to no office. I take no calls, no random stuff like that. All my stuff is just fighting game related. Okay, so I have additional responsibilities in life, right? But thankfully, since I am truly doing this full time, it is very easy for me to be flexible and switch stuff.
How economically you're incentivized to pursue many different avenues, and I've talked about that at length on this channel. And I can understand why Cien is talking about this today, because like I said, this is after his 9th place finish at Capcom Cup. He actually had a great run. He had one of the most difficult groups. Top 3, doing good, $200,000, $100,000 and on 4th. And then bam, look at the fall off to 5th place, 10.
Dude, so many fighting games, so many events have that shit, dude. It actually kind of sucks. Simply just be better.
But Cien himself finished in 9th place for $5,000, and he basically mentions that with all the work I put in, it's like I got paid $500 a month.
Also, look at I don't know about Shen's sponsor. I don't know anything about these guys, but like some of these people, they're not struggling. You know what I mean? That Uma, nothing. This is like life changing, right? But some people here, Red Bull right here, dude. Like people, Some people are not.
matches.
DRX, like a super. These guys won league, right? These guys won league like last year or 2 years ago. Like some of these dudes are not struggling.
Cian himself finished.
We simply, my God. Do your job. Do your job.
While grinding for this tournament, and it's just really not worth the time investment. And the reality of being a pro player and the economics of it, I've talked about at length, right? Tons of videos on this channel discussing.
Goat. Damn, he right. This is like me making videos about old fighting games. This is Brian's lane. It's just like, yo, where's the content?
The economics of being a professional fighting game player, how to actually make money playing fighting games. And so here's a screenshot from my own video of how to actually make money playing fighting games.
Let's see. How professional fighting game players make money. Tournaments, invitationals, teams. Most players do not make a livable salary. The top 0.01% can make good money. If you're lucky, you get a stipend and minimal paid trade. This is all true. Consulting appearance fees. Some players get paid to show up to events. It's a very small group of people. Endorsements, advertisements, paid tweets, and campaigns. Yes. Content creation, the most stable way to generate income. I've lost money competing, made money doing content. I'm a top 100 player. Tournaments, invest in your plan as a player. Do well at a tournament. Yep. Tournaments. To be honest, I'm sure for like that small group of people, because they don't have like all your winnings, you know, probably from tournaments, I'm probably down overall, but also like, I mean, I'm sure like every game, every region, there's that person who kind of lives off not regionals even, like just locals and shit. Invitationals, leagues, you need to be lucky enough that your game is big enough that you have these, right? And that they keep running. So for example, there's Summit of Power, right? Summit of Power, I got 9th, and I think I made like 2K, and I was very happy because I needed that 2K. And that was 9th. And then a certain company said Goku doesn't want to do another Summit of Power, and then that was that. And then Guilty Gear actually got a bunch of shit when the game came out for the first 6 months. But after the first 6 months, we have not seen Red Bull Kumite since then, no Twitch rivals from then. So again, this is the magic money from the sky, the thing we're trying to avoid, right? We don't want it to be magic. We need to summon it. We don't want it to be magical. We want to summon it. It's selective, it's exclusive, and essentially really 2 games. You're looking Street Fighter, Tekken for this, right? And new game that's big enough. So let's say like they randomly make I mean about this, but they make like Rage Red. They'll have a couple of Rage Red invitationals. Maybe the Red Bull toss the anime players a Lucy, and then they'll be all right. Enough of that piece. Teams and sponsors. So this is one I always have to get checked on, because he is right at the top percents. The top not percent. People do actually make quite a bit of money off this. However, you're talking about like less, like a handful of people. Many people with letters in front of their name. They hopefully are at least getting like something like hotel or something, right? Most people don't make a salary. Most people make a salary, right? They call it a salary because they give it to you every month, but it doesn't mean it's like out of college you're getting $2,400 a month salary. It could be like $500 a month. It could be like $750 a month. It could be like $1,000 a month. It could be all over the place. Even then, again, it's a small percentage of people, and you have that the little demon. This is the demon that whispered to me. That's like, what do you add to this team if you're not winning everything? Smiley face. That was one of my motivations for doing content. I was like, bro, like I am having a teen crisis for like the 18th time, and like I gotta figure out some shit. I don't take anything for granted, basically. So I was like, these motherfuckers are not gonna keep me. Politely, I love them. I need to figure some shit out. Consulting appearance fees. Again, very, very small group of people. I think it's a little bit easier to get into consulting depending on what you do, because that expands into a lot of things. Like let's say you know how to do stuff with sticks or certain types of equipment or streaming or something, as opposed to appearance fee. Appearance fee is they pay you to literally show up. So this is already like a 0.01% thing, and then it's also not split evenly. Coaching also is not bad, but specifically in fighting is if you're in Smash, apparently coaching is like huge in Smash. It's not as big in fighting games. I feel like it's mostly The majority is when a new game comes out. When Strive came out, I was doing a shit ton of coaching, but these days, no. I do think there is a pinch of romanticism about figuring it out on your own in fighting games. I do think there's something like that where people are like, what's the point of asking X person, where you could just like ask someone who plays the character or da da da. I've had a couple of people who did Metafy with me who play characters I don't play be surprised how much they got, how much, like, I don't know, for lack of a better word, value they got from it. And I'm like, yeah, but there's just a lot of stuff we can talk about. You know what I mean? And coaching is actually not bad, but also you need clout, or you need to farm nonstop. Farm. Pros still need to accept the coaching. Hey, I get coached. I get coached twice a week. Jonathan Tenne. The only reason I didn't get coached on Tuesday was because I was flying back from LTC. That's all. Endorsements, advertisements. This one is mildly accessible. Emphasis on mildly. This is accessible to smaller creators. They're not gonna pay you a lot, and they're probably gonna give you the CPA, cost per acquisition. So that's the sign up for Raid Shadow Legends, and I get like $10, right? That type of thing. Then there's content creation. So content creation is interesting. It's interesting because we talk about fighting game content a lot, and there was just what? How long ago? 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, where there was the thread about like, what do you think is missing from fighting game content creation, and like, you know, people only care if you're a top player. So like, content creation is your best chance by far, because you don't have to be good at the games to make content. You can add. There's something, if you think of it, there's something that you can add in some way. There's many ways to do it. And if you do it well, then you can grow something from that. But regardless, you have to put time into this stuff, especially if you're trying to do this full time. And sign up, this is a good breakdown.
And solely focusing on actually just winning tournaments, like your main job of being a fighting game player actually isn't your main job, right? The economic influences have shown that winning tournaments is not where you make money, because unless you are actually first place, there's too much risk involved to pursue that goal, because the prize pools are so top heavy that you can't be part of the field of the 20 or so players that are vying for that championship spot, that are at that level where they can actually get that win. You have to be the guy that day, which means it's just too risky. Not enough people can be fed in that kind of ecosystem where there's no guaranteed income from being a high level player, right? So invitationals and leagues like Street Fighter League do actually try to address some of those issues, but it's still very limited slots, and the pay depends on the league. I don't know if
So again, I have my own tournament now, smiley face. We are running another one. I was supposed to say it and they cut me off. I was supposed to give a big hint of what I was going to do next, and they cut me off while I was saying it. So I thought everyone heard it, but only people at the venue heard me say it. But it'd be like that. But at least if you're here, you know that I'm trying to run another one. Why do an invitational? The main goals of this is, of course, content. It's content related, but also it's what I said before, because this is the Xian statement is one that many players have said, and you could think this too if you could think of a player who's been playing for a long time. There's someone that you know, but like for whatever reason they're not like super popular. Like you could basically tier out fighting game players by clout. So the Xian thing is that I always feel like the energy is from the player that's like, like the Fortnite people get to just play Fortnite and they make a lot of money, or like the League people, they get to just play League and play a lot of money and get a lot of money for playing League. Why am I good at this game, but I don't just make a lot of money just because I played a game? Where my perspective is, I need to like do stuff to get the money here. Like I need to do stuff to bring it, or else it's over there. You know, so especially from not playing Street Fighter or Tekken, like you literally can't expect people to just do that for you. You can't expect that. Like or another one is like there was a period in Xrd where people were trying to get sponsored for playing Xrd. I was one of them. I actually did get sponsored during Xrd, but it wasn't like a major one. Really, as usual with me, it got memed, and I got sponsored by D-Link for like, how long was that? 6 months, maybe 6 months, a year, something like that. And people were like, "Oh, why aren't we getting like these sponsors?" And I was like, "Well, our game isn't as big. our game isn't as big. I don't know what to say. Competition is way harder now too. Can't just clear everyone. Yeah, I feel like can't the period of it came a little later for anime. I think where Street Fighter really started in 4. Where for anime games it probably started around Persona, definitely Guilty Gear. Once you get to Guilty Gear, there's no, it's hard to just straight up dominate. But I think around Persona that kind of started. You need to create an environment to create a community with many events and stuff, so there are more chances of moving money around. Also, inspire more events. Yeah, pretty much. It's basically like the goal is to build something that helps basically every phase of what I think it means to be a professional fighting game player, right? So it's content driven, clearly, and it's an event, right? Tournament ran event, and since it's an event, I can bring sponsors. Sponsors means money for the players. Sponsors mean we get more money to run a better thing later, and we just kind of cycle this. Because in the end, technically, you could have a game that only has a 10 player base, but if you could get people to care about that player base enough and sit and watch an event, you could still get money in. Because the main thing is that people know that stuff is going on. You know what I mean? People know that stuff is going on and they're interested in seeing it.
But really, problem is content creation is really the place where you're incentivized the most. Being a top level competitive player is good, but it's more rewarding to be a good competitive player that pivots that success and that notoriety into a successful content creation career than it is to continually try to pursue being the best. Because unless you're consistently winning first place or you win the million, you're not going to be making a good return on investment for your time, right? So Cien, I mean, he's been active since 2009. He's been doing this for such a long time. Total winnings 229,225.
It's probably more than that.
From 2009. What is that? 15 years? Of course, these are estimates. I'm sure there's more money elsewhere. This doesn't include things like if he has a salary, any endorsements he's done, other avenues of his career where he could have potentially earned money. But over 15 years, $15,281 per year. That is below minimum wage. And then Punk, same thing, 520,000. He's going to be making pretty similar money right there. 520,000 from tournament winnings. He was the most dominant Street Fighter V player for a good long stretch there, and he's averaging 65,000 a year from tournament winnings. I guarantee you, Punk is making more from his content creation and sponsorship and like especially his Panda era endeavors. He's making more money from that.
Okay,
much.
I didn't want to be the one to say it.
More money from that than his tournament winnings. Yeah. And then if you look at even Cien, Evo champion, you win Evo as Cien, you get 5,000.
Oh, Cien is from the year where they didn't have it'd be like that, bro. That sucks. I'll take that though.
$893. One thing that we see is that in NA in the Western world, where we have a really poor infrastructure and poor sponsor system, and the tournament scene doesn't support these kind of payouts, most of the time our top players grow up and move on. They are forced to move on and forced to do something else to make money. Right? Like you just have to pay the bills. There's players who I would love a world where they could just simply focus on playing, but over time, the economic reality does not allow that. They have to pivot and do something else. And once again, no matter which way you boil it down, it's all about the attention economy. That is what pays the bills when you are a fighting game player. So if performing well at tournaments and consistent at tournaments, but maybe not winning, doesn't pay the bills, you're going to have to get that attention in some other way. And that's just the reality of it. I don't love that. I enjoy doing it myself because I enjoy sharing about fighting games and talking about them. And I'm someone who's been built to do this, right? Like I enjoy doing this. I enjoy sharing and discussing fighting games. So I have benefited from this reality.
Yeah, it's just like it's always interesting hearing these takes. I mean, I agree with everything you said, by the way. He's not really saying anything super controversial. It's just like the pockets of it all, you know what I mean? Because he's talking about Street Fighter. Street Fighter is like the biggest game besides Tekken. So it's like, yeah, what do you do when you don't do the main thing on top of that? But again, in my opinion, your job as a fighting game player includes this. It's not separate. It includes this. It actually includes doing this. This is all part of your gig because we don't get it for free. I know the actual pro gamer dream is that you just get good at the game and then everyone loves you, but unfortunately It is not that. It's not how it works.
You look at Truthful League Japan, they have a live weekly system where throughout the season, all these teams backed by real sponsors are actually playing weekly events. All these matches have guaranteed screen times. It's a real league, like what you would watch in the NFL. And it's actually gained a lot of steam, a lot of traction. So beyond just the decent pricing for the top teams, these players, I assume, are getting salary. I don't want to say that for certain, but my assumption is these are sponsored players getting paid a salary to be able to afford to live. You have people who are legacy players who have been able to be a pro player, almost exclusively a pro player. I know a lot of these people tend to do some content creation as well, but a lot of these players are exclusively pro players. They get a salary and they have longevity in the FGCs. So the situation for pro players in Japan is actually much different than it is in any other scene in the world. And I wish we could have that.
It sounds like Street Fighter League is what the pinnacle, I guess, of what the people who want to just play want to do. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard for me to emphasize because I'm from smaller games. I'm from like small games and then move to big games.
My solution is, if you are trying to pursue being a professional player, you definitely need to have your brand built and do content and other things that make sense for you to be able to support yourself and grow your brand. Because once again, your 100% of your pay is based on the attention economy, either through success in competing in tournaments or through content creation, generating buzz other ways. No matter what you're doing, it's all about attention. A lot of the Japanese pros do content as well, but some of them don't. And what my point is, it's not required. It's still beneficial.
It is required.
I see a lot of return Kazunoko.
Brian, it is required. It is required. Let's just keep it real. We have to do it. Our shit is online. By our shit being online, we need to do it. We have to do it. Maybe I'm really Spartan about this, but
I think on YouTube it gets huge viewership, so it makes sense for them to do that. But what I'm saying is, it's not 100% required, and it's not as much of a grind for them. Like, a lot of their streams are them just practicing, right? JB's on C9. Yeah, a lot of orgs are actually picking up players here and there, prepping themselves and positioning themselves to have the golden goose for season 2. So there are some positives right now. But that said, yeah, it's not a great situation. So Cien says it's not worth it to be exclusively a professional player. I agree. I think for 99.99% of top level players, you have to do something content. You have to brand.
All right, summary. It's your fucking job. Boot up YouTube, bro. I'm sorry. This is one I can't. This is one I really can't get behind. This is one I can't get behind. Like, oh no, I get to record a video about hating Faust. Oh no, like, you know. Even today, I didn't want to boot up stream today. I'm not gonna lie. I booted up stream pissed. Guess what my job is? My job is to do that.
Skill issue.
I think saying spoiled is too far. I think that's unfair. Because I do understand what people want it to be. I definitely understand what people want it to be, but you also have to accept not only the realities of what we're doing, but also think about then not other competitive games. So not actual like League or like Dota or like Fortnite. Like, what about other content creators? Like, they do what they're supposed to do to get eyes on them on the internet. You know what I mean? You gotta just that's the way, dude. That's the way.